Good morning, second year students. Welcome again. We were doing Guy de Maupassant's The Umbrella in the last lesson. Now, first, let me revise what I had done with you in the previous class, and then we will continue. We were doing the short story The Umbrella, and it is a very interesting short story in which we meet a couple which is well off financially, but they don't have children, and still the wife is a miser. She does not like to spend money even on the necessary things, and the husband finds life very difficult for him because his colleagues his colleagues mock at him, and one of the point of mocking is his umbrella. His umbrella was very old, and it had become a standing joke for in his office for his colleagues, all of his colleagues, that Monsieur O'Reilly's umbrella is very old and it is tattered. And his pride was hurt, his self respect was hurt, so he came to his wife to have some money for a new umbrella. And what she did, she gave him a very little amount of money so that he could buy an umbrella made for the purpose of advertisement. So, all the more his colleagues made fun of him because the advertisement umbrella had printings on it, had advertisements on it. So it was more insulting for him. So one day, when he could bear his insult no more, he came with fresh strength to his wife in order to demand a new umbrella. So she was also pressurized, and she bought for him a silk umbrella of 18 francs. And she gave a warning that you should make use of it till 5 years. I'm not going to buy you another for next 5 years. So this Monsieur husband, he was so exultant. He was filled with joy. Why? Because today no one in his office will mock at him. Today he can show to his co-workers his new treasure. But his happiness was not long lasting. The very first day when he returned from his office, his wife found a hole in it. And naturally, we can understand that she was mortified with rage. She was so very angry that she could not speak. But anyhow, after some time, she did the patching, and next day, her husband did not show off his umbrella. Why? Because it had a different color patch in the center of it, right at the center of it. So the next day, when he returned, again his wife checked the umbrella, and today she found a lot of holes on the whole of umbrella, which could not be mended because there were so many, and now it was a total ruin. So now let us continue. So what happened, that a guest came to the house, and he came with a good idea. So first of all, he says that Monsieur Royal should have another umbrella. So the wife objected that no, I have already declared that he will never have an umbrella. But he made a very good point. He says that if you don't buy an umbrella for him, his clothes will be spoiled, and that will cost you more money. So this point forced Madame O'Reilly to think. So what did she say? She says that he can have the servant's umbrella. I shall never get him another silk one. You see? Now, when the guest said that your husband's clothes will be spoiled because of the lack of umbrella, she says that okay, if you say so, I will buy him an umbrella, but never a silk umbrella, but a servant's umbrella. Now, This pronouncement roused O'Reilly to rebellion. Naturally, how will he go to the office with a servant's umbrella? So he says, I will resign from my office, from my job. If you force me to go to the office with servant's umbrella, nothing will induce me to continue with my job, and I will give my resignation. So their visitor, he came up with a new idea. He says, why not have this one recovered? It won't be expensive. So Madam said, it will cost at least 8 francs. Now she started calculating that I spent already 18 francs, and 18 plus 8, 26. Now she says that 26 francs for an umbrella, that is outrageous, that is madness. Now she is not ready to spend 26 francs on an umbrella. So that idea was also put down. So the friend who was a poor man had a sudden inspiration. And what did he say? You will laugh at his suggestion. He said, get it out of your insurance company. They always pay compensation for anything burnt, provided that it happened in your own premises. Now, can you imagine that he is giving this suggestion that you should go for insurance? Now, we all know that we have insurance of car, we have insurance of shops and houses and big things. But can you imagine that Madam O'Reilly will go to the insurance company to have compensation for an umbrella? But you see, this suggestion worked like a charm. After a moment's reflection, Madame O'Reilly turned to her husband. Tomorrow, on your way to the office, you can take the umbrella to the matinale, show them the damage, and put a claim for compensation. Now, she is asking her husband to go to the insurance company and ask for compensation. Now, we all know that husband will not agree to this idea. So he says, I should never have the face to do such a thing. After all, it's only a matter of 18 francs. It won't ruin us. And he is right. He says that the 18 francs will not ruin us. So, but this idea was going on and on Madame O'Reilly's mind, because it had struck her. She wanted to save her money anyhow, even at the cost of her self respect. So, happily, the next day was fine, and he went to the office carrying a walking stick. He did not need an umbrella because it was not raining. So, what happened? Madame O'Reilly started thinking. She could not cease from brooding over her vanished 18 francs. Now, the umbrella was lying on the dining room table, and she kept hovering around it, unable to come to a decision. And she was so much obsessed with the idea of the insurance company that she could not overcome it. Though she was a very bold lady in her house, but outside her house she was timid. Timid means she was shy in society, and a habit of flushing at merest trifles. Merest trifles means small little things she used to feel shy about. Now, and she was not comfortable in starting conversation with strangers. So she had this type of personality that she was very bold and dominating in front of her husband, but in society she was shy and timid. But the sorrow of her 18 francs tormented her like an aching wound. Notice the expression, tormented her like an aching wound. And wounds can cause you do anything. So she tried to banish this idea of insurance company from her mind, but it was not possible. Again and again, her mind was forcing her to recover her 18 francs from the insurance company. So she started thinking, and hour after hour, She was thinking and thinking what she wanted to do, and suddenly she came up with an idea, and she decided to take action. I will go and we'll see what happens. Now you see the determination. I will go and we'll see what happens. She was determined to go to the insurance company herself. Now, first of all, she wanted to show to the insurance company that the umbrella has been ruined totally. So, what did she do? She took a matchbox and she burnt it, and she made a great hole the size of her hand in the umbrella so that it may seem that it has been burnt by fire. And she very artistically rolled up the remains of silk and fastened it with the elastic band and put on her shawl and hat, and she hurried off to the insurance company. And what happened? That the nearer she drew to the insurance company, her heartbeats were increasing. She was growing conscious. She was growing tensed. Now she hesitated a little, but when she pondered over her lost 18 francs, it gave her a fresh strength, and she entered into the office of the insurance company. Now, when she crossed the threshold and entered the office, she could feel her heart beating wildly. A counter ran all round the immense room, and each little aperture in the grating, a man's head was visible. Now, there is a description of this office, and we can see that this lady has gone to the office in order to get a compensation for an umbrella. Now, she went towards a man who was passing through the room carrying some papers. "Excuse me, sir," she murmured in low, trembling tones. "Could you tell me to whom to apply for compensation in the case of damages by fire?" Now, you can see the touch of humor. Damages by fire. As if a lot of damage has been caused by fire. "The first floor at the left," the man replied. "The accident department." Now, when he says the accident department, again there is a touch of humor. Now, the fire accident department deals with big accidents. If a shop is burned, if a house is burned, if a vehicle is burned, but nobody might have expected that a lady will come with a burnt umbrella. So, more flustered than ever by his answer, she longed to run away without word and sacrifice her 18 francs. When this man said the accident department, this lady grew conscious and she wanted to return home. Then again, she drew fresh courage from the idea that all that money could be got back if she does a little effort. So she knocked at the door at the first floor. A ringing voice bade her enter, and she stepped into a spacious room where three men, all with ribbons in their buttonholes, were standing in a group immersed in a serious discussion. Now we can understand that in an insurance company, the office of an insurance company, and the accident department, people might be talking for accidents which have caused them thousands and lakhs of money. So, I will read out to you the conversation. One of the men turned to her. "What can I do for you, madam?" She could hardly bring out the words. "I have come," she stammered, "I have come about an accident." The man motioned her to politely to a chair. "Pray be seated, madam. I shall be at your disposal in a minute or two." Now you see what type of discussion these people were having. "In your case, gentlemen," said the manager, "the company does not hold itself liable for the sum exceeding for 400,000 francs. We cannot admit your claim for a further 100,000, beside the valuation." Now, we can imagine when Madame O'Reilly listened to this conversation and this conversation was amounting to a sum exceeding 400,000 francs, and she had come just for 18 francs. But now she could not get up. Why? Because she was already seated on a chair, and she was confused whether to continue sitting there or to run away to her house, because these people were talking of 400,000 francs, and she had come just for 18 francs. So that will do the broke one of the others. The court will decide. We need not prolong the interview. Now the two claimants left the room, and had she dared, she could have followed their example, joyfully sacrificing everything. But now she was in a trap. She could not get up. If only she could escape. But it was too late. The manager rejoined her and said with a bow, I am at your service, madam. I have come. She gasped with a painful effort, I have come about this. Now, we can imagine that the manager who was talking about 400,000 francs is looking at an umbrella which costs only 18 francs. In frank astonishment, she looked down at the object presented to his gaze. Her trembling fingers fumbled at the elastic band. After several attempts, she succeeded in unfastening it. Several attempts. It seems she was conscious and hastily shook out the mutilated remains of the umbrella. It looks in a bad way, remarks manager sympathetically. It cost me 20 francs, she said tentatively. Now we can understand and we can see the undertone of humor. See, she is saying that it cost me 20 francs. He seemed surprised. Oh, 20 francs. We can imagine the man who is dealing with 400,000 francs is being shown an umbrella costing 20 francs. Really? As much as that? Yes, it was a very good one. I wanted you to see for yourself what a state it is in. Now he says that there's no doubt in it, but I fail to understand what it has to do with me. Now you see, naturally, the manager of the accident department of the insurance company, he says that okay, your umbrella is burned, but I don't know what I can do for yourself. Now, with a sinking heart, she wondered whether the company refused to pay compensation for such trifling damages. Now, for the very first time, she is thinking that she has made a mistake. But you see, she stammered, it has been burnt. Evidently, he replied without attempting to refute her statement. Now, words failed her and she started gasping. And she suddenly realized that she did not give her name. She says that I am Madame O'Reilly. We have taken out an insurance policy and I wish to put in a claim for compensation. But, and then with these words, she showed her umbrella and she made it clear that she wanted a compensation for the umbrella. But he said, Madam, we don't deal with umbrellas. We don't undertake repairs of such description. Now, what happens? Her confidence has come again. She regained confidence. Now she was no longer afraid. She says, I am only asking you to pay for the repairs. I can get it recovered myself. The manager seemed taken aback. Really, madam, it is such a small matter. We never asked to pay. We are never asked to pay compensation for such small accidents. You must admit that we cannot be expected to replace handkerchiefs or gloves or brooms or old slippers and all the little odds and ends that are liable to be burnt at any moment of the day. Now, with fresh encouragement, this lady, she says that I want a compensation for my umbrella. Last December, sir, we had a chimney on fire and it had cost us 500 francs to repair the damage. Monsieur O'Reilly never asked the company for a farthing, so it is only fair that you should pay for my umbrella. Now she is making stories. She's making false stories that we had a loss of 500 francs. But we didn't ask for you for a compensation, so it is justified that you should at least pay a compensation for our umbrella. Now the manager smiled, and because he says that I will never be able to get rid of this lady if I don't pay. So he says, you cannot deny, madam, that it is very surprising of Monsieur O'Reilly that after making no claim for damages amounting 500 francs, to ask for 5 or 6 francs compensation for an umbrella. He says that it's very surprising that you are asking for 5 to 6 francs for an umbrella and you didn't come to the office when you had a loss of 500 francs. Now she says that that was the matter of my husband and this is a matter related to me and I don't waste money. Now the manager realized that he could not get rid of her without wasting his whole day. So he said, will you kindly let me know how the accident came about? Now she was so confident of her victory that she began to relate her story, to tell her false story. It was like this and that, and she at last convinced the manager that it was a fire accident. So so the manager asked, government matches, I suppose, means it was burnt by government matches. But this lady did not catch the joke. Why? Because she was only concerned about getting a compensation of money for her umbrella. So she says, possibly. The point is that with the fourth match, I lighted my candle and then I retired to my room. Now, so on and so forth. She is relating a false story. The manager bowed to the inevitable. Bow to the inevitable means he understood every word of it. But he was aware that he could not get rid of this lady without wasting his whole day. So it is better to get rid of this lady by giving some amount of compensation. What amount do you claim, madam? She did not venture to name her figure and remained silent. I leave it to you, she says, that you can have it repaired for me. Now, she is very smart lady. She is not telling the exact amount. She says that I leave it to you. I just want it repaired. So what happened? The manager agreed and he said that okay, you can have it repaired for yourself. Get the bill and we will give you the compensation. So I will read out to you the last part of the story and you will really find it very interesting. We cannot do that, madam. Kindly fix your own figure. Why? I should think. No, sir, listen to me. I don't wish to make any profit out of you. This is the fairest way. I will take my umbrella to a shop, have it recovered with good, hard wearing silk, and bring you the bill. What will that do? Admirably, the matter was settled. Here is a note for the cashier who will refund you the cost of repairs. He handed her a card. She clutched it, rose from her chair, and muttering words of thanks, hurried from the room for fear he should change his mind. Now, please pay attention to the last words. After this victory, she tripped gaily along the street hunting for an umbrella shop of promising character. When she came to one she looked sufficiently expensive, she marched boldly in and said in authoritative tones, I wish to have this umbrella recovered with the finest silks. Use the best materials you have. I don't mind what it costs. Now you see, this miserly lady, this is the paradox that when your own money is being spent, you become miser. But when you realize that you are spending others' money, you see what are her words? I wish to have this umbrella recovered with the finest of silk. Because now her own money won't be spent. The insurance company will repay her for it. So she says that I want it recovered with the finest of silk. Use the best material you have. I don't mind what it costs. So the punch of the story by Guy de Maupassant is this human trait, this psychology of miserly people, that if they are given a chance to spend others' money, they are very generous in spending it. But when it comes to them, they are so miserly that they can't even spend money on necessary things. Now, this is the end of the story. Thank you.